Hey there, it's Ron Gula from Gula Tech Adventures, and today we're going to take a deeper dive into a new type of technology called file sharding. Now, let's say you have a file and it's got some interesting information in it. Standard procedures, you're supposed to encrypt that file, and this is a form of protection. But it's also a burden. And if you put it in the cloud, you might think it's safe, but China might be able to come steal that file. The cloud might go away. The cloud might not be there one day when you have an API crash or some sort of error. And there's a burden of managing all the keys and who has access to this. So enter file sharding. Now, if you learned about IT technology before you got into cyber, you probably learned about RAID array disks, where you can actually take one file, put it on lots and lots of different type of disks, and have different types of pairing, where even as parts of the disk fails, or maybe an entire disk fails, your file is still very, very reliable. File sharding is very similar. Let's take it, so you have a file. File could be encrypted. It doesn't have to be replacing encryption. As you write the file out to the cloud through some sort of gateway that does sharding for you, the bits and small bytes of those files get written down onto your cloud share. Now, if you have a small enough byte size, and this is all scrambled and it's a random sort of pattern out there, even something like a credit card or a social security number, you might be able to see my digits, but you're not going to be able to put it back together. And making it more interesting, what if you put half of those bits and bytes on one cloud and separated the other half on another cloud? This not only creates a little bit of reliability if you write it out there more than that, but it also makes somebody have to recover the data from multiple clouds, which can be a harder target. And of course, the more you put out there for more computers and more files, the more intermixed and scrambled this data really is. It can be very hard to reassemble. So this, of course, protects data from China and from being available and whatnot. But the question is what does it do to your overall business cost? Now, if you think about this, if you have some sort of PKI program or some sort of encryption program, there is a lot of money and effort that goes and regulation that goes into protecting PII data. When you shard it, there's a lot of different reasons that that data might not be considered PII. If you're familiar with various regulatory frameworks, GDPR actually says that sharded data is not to be considered as PII. So if you have a way to kind of detoxify or DPII this data, you might not have to do entire processes to protect that data. And this is actually lower the cost of this. Not only that, a lot of this data, once you put it out there, you might not have to do the most expensive type of read and write data. You could possibly use cheaper and less reliable forms of cloud storage. Now, there's another really interesting benefit. Let's say you shard all this data and you have all your computers using the sharding data in the cloud, and you have data in Asia, USA, and the European Union. And for whatever reason, you're going to say, hey, we can't have our data in Asia anymore. Now, normally this would be a huge forklift, right? We got to move a data center, we got to change our network attached storage, we have to do a basic project. But with sharding, you can just simply have those files trickled, moved from one cloud provider to another until they're all there. And your organization, people who are using those files, they actually continue and they don't really know any other difference. And you can do this with just cloud vendors as well. Let's say you're using Amazon, Azure, and Google, and you're switching from Google and Azure and Amazon. There's a lot of that going on these days. It's not a heavy lift. Sharding allows you to avoid vendor lock-in in the cloud, besides all those security benefits I talked about. Now, Google Tech Adventures, we have invested in Shard Secure. You can see their URL right here. We think this is an emerging market. This is something that I think every CIO and CISO should factor into their overall cybersecurity and data availability operations. And if you want to learn more about them, come visit them at Shard Secure, and you can check out all of our companies at Gula Tech Adventures at gula.tech. And if you like this kind of video, I'm going to be doing more technology-related cybersecurity emerging tech. I'm Ron Gula. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.